Let's get off quarterbacks.
Can we go over some? Yeah, because there are some storylines, obviously, in every offseason. It seems like the quarterbacks dominate, but there are some big ones that are non-quarterback related throughout the NFL.
Yeah.
What are the first couple that jump off the front of your mind on what those would be this year?
All right. I mean, I got 10 things written down.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I got a few too.
All right. The first one. All right. The first two would be game-changing D linemen. My first one would be game-changing edge pass rushers. Mm-hmm. That is a storyline I'm looking for. Hey, we know Jadeveon Clowney's going to get a lot of attention this offseason. He's a difference maker. But Everson Griffin, Dante Fowler Jr., Bud Dupree is going to get paid like a top-tier edge rusher. Shaq Barrett led football in sacks. I mean, we don't even talk about him. Yannick Ngakoue. Those are difference-making players to me. That can change your team and just your almost your aura on the defensive side of the ball, those type of players. So that, to me, is one of the biggest off-season headlines because that's a position that is, of course, more times than not, imperative to you being successful. I mean, we just saw two teams in the Super Bowl who were good at that position, and,
More so now, imperative, just because, you have, Kyler Murray running around. You have Lamar Jackson running around. You have Patrick Mahomes.
I think you got to take that into account. Definitely, yeah. You got to think about being athletic on the edge because we're just seeing every year athletic quarterbacks coming into the league. I mean, every year. It doesn't matter. It's Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. There's so many guys there that if you don't have great athletes on the edge to contain those guys, those are the type of guys that can beat you no matter what you got on defense if you don't have the fast guys to kind of contain them. And I think that is real. My second one would be D tackles. I mean, really, the biggest player I think we could argue to hit free agency this year would be Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, he's arguably, other than Aaron Donald, the best interior D lineman in football. He's going to get paid like one of the best defensive players in football.
They don't win the Super Bowl. They don't win the Super Bowl if he doesn't knock down those passes.
Definitely not. Exactly right. They don't win the Super Bowl. You're right. Or hit Jimmy Garoppolo as he's throwing the ball to have the interception. I believe that was him. Maybe I'm off there. But either way, I want the Chris Jones.
If it wasn't, he affected them enough to where he effed up the play.
Yeah, he might have made Garoppolo move and then somebody else hit him. I can't remember how that play went down. But Jones, okay, he is, of course, the headliner there. But I just want to throw out some other big uglies in the middle that I think are game changers that people don't talk about all the time. Jerron Reed, the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, one of the better D tackles in football. DJ Reader of the Houston Texans. I mean, this is one of the best nose tackle, interior D tackles in football. Of course, Eric Armstead in the 49ers, right? Yep. And then Mike Brockers, the Michael Brockers, defensive tackle. He's listed as a D end for the Rams, but he's really a D tackle, the way they play him and everything like that. It's a 3-4 D end, which is really like a D tackle that way. So that's a big one to me.
So I think a lot of teams build up their offensive line in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen that here lately. And because those offensive linemen, they don't miss a whole lot. They're usually a pretty safe pick, but there are some interesting names out there, free agents.
Sure.
For this year, you got Bulaga from the Packers, who's out there. Jack Conklin, the Titans.
Big right tackles right there.
Costanzo from the Colts. Jason Peters, the Eagles. So there is a way outside of the draft to beef up your offensive line if you're a team in need.
Brandon Scherf, if you want a guard. I mean, he's a top-level guard. So, yes, you're exactly right. That's and to just go off of what we talked about with the defensive pass rushers and things like that, again, these guys are, kind of game changers in their own right as well.
Sure.
When you have a great right tackle or a tackle in general, there's a lot of things game planning wise that, us, the viewers, will never realize the beauty of what these guys bring to the table. But it's great to have a tackle where you go, oh, my guy can block Khalil Mack by himself all game long. We don't have to reorchestrate the pass protection all week. Or we can run behind this guy no matter what the situation is. That's the beauty of those. Go ahead, let me hear. You got another
one?
What
about Dallas? What's going to happen with Dallas? Because you can't pay everyone, and then Dak is included in that, but we're trying to keep him
sure. Yeah, we're trying not to.
You got Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
You got Byron Jones.
Those are huge.
Defensive back for them.
Huge. I mean, huge. Byron Jones when healthy, is arguably one of the 5 best corners in football. Can they? I would think somebody's going to pay him like that. Can the Cowboys afford that? I don't know. Then you got into the Amari Cooper conversation. I had this as my fourth thing. I was more A.J. Green and Amari Cooper. I kind of put 2 receivers that are free agent receivers, where I just go, I expect the Cowboys to franchise them, and maybe the Cincinnati Bengals franchise A.J. Green. But I could see them franchising A.J. Green and maybe trading him away, a la like we saw D. Clark with the Chiefs do last year, or D. Ford or Frank Clark with the Seahawks do. Like, kind of franchise tag, sign him that way, then trade him off to make sure you get what you want to get for the guy in general. But I would not be shocked. And, of course, these are two, like, Amari Cooper he's one of the best route runners in the game. A.J. Green, I know he didn't play last year, but even at his age, is still going to be one of the better receivers in all of football. So I find that intriguing. And what team makes a move for those guys? Especially A.J. Green. I think he's the one that's really going to be available. If I'm the Bengals, he's at that age where I start to think, okay, we're getting rid of Andy Dalton.
And what happened with him in the Bengals, too? I mean,
all year they kind of told us they were going to re-sign him. He certainly and then they never did. And he had the foot injury, and he never went back out and played. So I'm sure they figured, what's the point when you're 1-14 or 1-15 to throw him out in danger? But I think that's fascinating because, like, if a guy like A.J. Green goes to the New England Patriots, we're going, oh, New England's back as a top Super Bowl contender in the AFC, right?
He's not old. He'll be 32.
32, right?
So A.J. Green out there as well. What about, I think one of the, it seems like this is a storyline every year, and they're just not quite there. The Browns and the roster and the new coach and stuff, Kevin Stefanski for them. I mean, is that going to all fit together? Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham. It's just like, what are they going to have to end up doing? Are they going to have to blow it up? What can they do in free agency? It's like, the Browns, even though they're not good on the field, are fairly interesting in the offseason for those reasons.
They are. I mean, they're superstar. They're, it went from Believeland to back to the mistake by the lake. I don't know what the hell they are anymore.
And you've jumped off the ship, too, because of what you heard in the coaching search for them.
Right, and the analytics and all that, and the guy they hired as the GM. I mean, everybody's got to be in on analytics or you're not allowed to be there. And, again, analytics are good. I don't think they should be the main driving point of your organization. That's
so what happens when you're run by an analytic department that has a lot of say. Things happen that you never saw coming, right? It's just unpredictable things that may or may not work out, but usually an analytics department wants to lay their stamp on the team by doing something to say, hey, look how smart we are.
Right.
Look what we can do. And so I don't know what that's going to be.
I don't know what that's going to be either.
You got to do something.
We'll see. You're right. I mean, it's a fascinating thing. I mean, there's the OBJ factor there, and just, can Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry all get on the same page, right? I'll even want, just to jump off you there, because one of the things I wrote is like, who is this year's OBJ, right? Because last year he was like out of nowhere got traded, right?
That's true, yeah.
So like, well, who is that guy, or who's the guy that's on a team that we start to talk about like, what the hell? I came up with this, like Jalen Ramsey. That to me is a little bit of a fascinating story. I mean, the Rams gave up a king's ransom to get him, and here he is on his fifth-year option. He's been a team player the last 2 years. He's only behind Stephon Gilmore as the best corner in football right now this year. The 2 years previous, I'd say he was the best one. What goes on there? Are they going to sign him long-term? He has tremendous leverage with the amount of assets they gave up to get him. And, of course, he's a hell of a player. So that's when I look at to go very interesting. Just not that I'm saying he's going to get traded. I just don't know where it goes. I don't know, and it's very unique that a team gave up that much for a guy on his fifth-year option. And what are you only going to keep him for a year and a half and then let him go with all you traded away from him? I think that's kind of fascinating to me, too.
What about Derrick Henry?
Yeah, well,
he was arguably like the star of the NFL for a 2 or 3 week span.
I'm with you. Running backs in general. I mean, we have it's a little, David Johnson, his status with the Arizona Cardinals. I wouldn't be shocked if he got traded. Le'Veon Bell, he's in that conversation too. Wouldn't be shocked if somehow, some way he got traded. All right. Then you get into, you talked about, Henry. I mean, is arguably the best running back in the sport as of this moment right now. Lamar Miller, Damian Williams, Kenyon Drake. There's some fascinating, we've seen, running backs can change your offense. We saw Mark Ingram, Mark Ingram last year went from New Orleans to the Ravens, and we all thought, oh, that's a good sign and whatever, but it changed their team. It made the Lamar Jackson attack that much more effective. So, these are big names that can change the dynamic of an offense.
There might not be a stranger position in the NFL than running back, honestly. Because you look at the 49ers and what they did with Mostert and Breida and Tevin Coleman.
Right.
It's just like, okay, you don't need a big-name guy. You look over at the Tennessee Titans, you go, okay, it can really help you to have a big-name guy that can win a game by himself in Derrick Henry. So, and then you have Le'Veon Bell, who we thought was that guy, and turns out to be a pumpkin.
Well, it's just like anything else. It's just like we've seen. Fit, the coaching, all of those things out there. Like Minka Fitzpatrick was a bust, and then he was the NFL defensive MVP in like a 3-week span. That's very so the fit matters. And, Shanahan's special, and the fact that he can get away with that. But I would say nobody else is going to get away with that. But nobody else can coach the run game like Shanahan.
Yeah.
Most teams need, I don't want to say most teams, but a lot of teams need that guy who, like a Derrick Henry. It wasn't an overly complicated run scheme. They just went, we're going to kind of be sound up front. We'll make sure we get bodies on bodies, and we'll just let our big freak make things happen from there.
What would Kyle do if he had a guy like Derrick Henry? Well, how would he be different? Or would he not necessarily?
I don't think he would be different. I don't even know if he would want a guy like Derrick Henry, honestly. I don't know if that's like his style. Derrick Henry's a little bit more of a plodding running back, right? I mean, as you've seen Shanahan wants guys that are like, it's a ball of fire.
I mean, Henry's pretty fast.
He is fast. Yeah. He is. No, he is. I know he's fast. He's faster than really in a 100-yard race than everybody the 49ers have. Now, can he hit the hole the same way those that like Breida and Mozart and Tevin? I don't know about that. I don't know if he can hit the hole the way they can, and that's where Shanahan seems to love his running back.
And it's the discussion of allocation of resources. When you play in a league that has salary cap rules, Kyle Shanahan is going to state his case that I don't want to spend the money on the running back.
Because I can coach the difference there.
Although they have a couple times, right, with McKinnon, they spent a little bit of money in Tevin Coleman, but you're right. But I can coach those guys up and spend the money on defensive line.
Exactly.
Nick Bosa, Eric
exactly
Armstead,
right.
who they'll
I think that's where we need to go to. Exactly right. I mean, we need to go. The 49ers are one of the teams I wrote down as one of the biggest offseason storylines. I know I mentioned Eric Armstead, but Emmanuel Sanders, who they traded to get, a second-round pick.
Yep.
You talked about Armstead. Jimmy Ward, their safety. Okay, Jimmy Ward's one of the best safeties in football. He's phenomenal. And he's going to get paid like he's one of the 3 or 4 best safeties. So can they keep him? Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, Swiss Army knife. Can they do that? And the 49ers have cap issues. They don't have a lot of money to play with. So what are they going to do as far as keeping their team together and adding a new few players and the devastating Super Bowl loss and all those things? To me, this is an intriguing offseason for the San Francisco 49ers.
Can't necessarily hope to rebuild in the draft because you're picking way late in the first round now. Consequence of having all that success.
Yeah.
A team that's not doing that is the Dolphins, who have 3 first-round picks.
Good one. I'm glad you went here.
18, 26. They can blow up the offseason in multiple different ways by trading some picks around, keeping all their picks and just getting 3 super studs in the first round. Trading those picks and getting a free agent. They have a lot of options.
2 second-rounders, too? Is that, am I remember right? It's 3 in the first, 2 in the second, right? Yeah, I mean, you're right. They are one of the most intriguing teams, let alone to what you said, they have more money than anybody available in free agency. So, I mean, they can break the bank. I mean, they're going to be able to outbid a few teams and just go, we got stupid money, so we'll throw an extra $3 million to that guy. Did I spit on you? Sorry if I did.
No, you didn't.
All right, sorry.
You missed me.
Don't say it.
So what would you, if you were the Dolphins and you saw their team, and they really finished the year in a lot better place than they started at. We thought they were going to be a winless team, and they took it to some teams that we thought were much better than them on paper. What would you do if you were them? Would you go veteran quarterback, which they'll have that option?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's time for their franchise quarterback take a swing in the draft?
I would take the swing in the draft. I would. I mean, and again, I haven't started studying these guys yet, but I think Tua, Herbert, and Joe Burrow are all top 5 talents. They're top 5 talents. Now, we'll see where Tua and the medical stuff go and all that. You heard rumors today about Justin Herbert is, the Dolphins are coming around to really like him because he's going to be one of those guys when teams are going to watch film, the things they're going to not like about him are going to be Oregon offense. They're not going to be Justin Herbert. They're going to go, damn, another great throw. Damn, he's an athlete. Whoa, he's big. Holy crap, he can make some plays that other people can't. And I think that's what they're looking at there. So that's where it's going to be interesting. And then, is there going to be a premium with picks 2, 3, and 4 of teams trying to trade up there and steal one of these quarterbacks? And then the Dolphins being stuck in no man's land. Does a guy like Nick Eason from Washington get involved in the conversation? I think he's a borderline top first-round quarterback. So, there's a lot of things to be juggled, and hopefully you and I will continue to flush these out as I get into draft stuff. But, the Dolphins are really cool to see what happens here.
Herbert is a name, too. The Bengals, too, coached him in the Senior Bowl.
Oh, right.
Bengals coaches, too.
Yeah.
There's reports they liked him, too. Herbert.
He has the most top-end talent out of any of these guys. I know you've heard me say that. The guy that if you said, ooh, Chris, who could be the biggest, super freak superstar of the group? I would peg Justin Herbert as that guy. I think he has the most chance to be like that guy we watch on a weekly basis to go, whoa, like a Mahomes or a Watson. We just go, whoa, I can't believe he did that. I think he has the most potential to be that guy. Now, he's never been outside of like Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
And he was going to be a top 5 pick last year and stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
Teams aren't going to like that. That's not going to be like a cool thing.
Why?
Because people are going to be like, well, why the didn't you come out in the NFL?
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to be in the NFL? That's
Andrew Luck didn't come out.
I know, and look what happened. This is what's going to be scary. This is exactly why teams that I've heard are scared of Justin Herbert already. They're worried of Andrew Luckness, that he's a little smarter and outside the box thinker, and that at like year 6 of his career he's going to go, there's more to life than football, and move on. And that's I think the number one knock on him, and I've heard from a few people around the league.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's his red flag? He's smarter.
Yeah,
No.
right. He actually thinks about his life, right? Well, which is not good. I mean, football players don't. I mean, football coaches don't want that. I don't want that. If I'm a football coach, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like that. I mean, I was like, my own life. I want to play football. Oh, my kid's going to be born? We better have him soon because I have an OTA practice, or I'm not going to see the kid born. That's the way I was.
You saw the trade-off, you weighed it, and you go, you know what? Hey,
right.
We'll play football.
We'll play football. Right.
Here's one. Yeah. I got one for you.
Okay.
You have 3 teams moving into new stadiums. You have the Chargers, Rams, and the Raiders.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to want to make a big move. Big splash, trade, free agent signing.
I think the Chargers and the Raiders, I mean, we're not going to talk about quarterbacks right now, but I think the Chargers and the Raiders are in that conversation.
Yeah.
We'll just say big splash signings for now because this is a non-quarterback.
You're right.
Off-season stories. But you're right. Splash moves. We'll just leave it at that.
They'll want to win the offseason to show that they've arrived in the new stadium.
It's the chance of the Chargers and the Raiders too to like steal, some fans for the future.
That's true. Yeah.
That's the big thing. Still a lot of unclaimed fandom out there. And the Raiders probably look at it and go, man, Los Angeles is up to be had. We got a few marquee players here in Las Vegas. We could probably steal some Los Angeles fans and be Vegas fans. So I think that's cool. All right.
Isn't it funny how the most popular team in L.A. didn't get to L.A.? They're in Vegas.
It is. It is really. It
out.
is hilarious. The only other thing I think we hit them all would be the PI rule.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay,
my last
good.
one.
What is it? What's going to happen? Because I just know this year was a disaster, and I didn't like it. And I don't think any of us knew what pass interference was on a weekly basis. And I think it slowed down the game.
It turned into we'll give you the option of challenging it. We will not overturn it.
Pretty much. I mean, for the most part. And then there was a few where you go, well, that's got to get overturned, and it didn't. And a few that you go, that's not going to get overturned, and it did. And it put Al Riveron in a very tough spot. I thought a no-win situation for him. And I just don't think it's good for the league. I don't. Again, I don't know how we ever survived these first 53 years of football, the Super Bowl era, without this PI review. Man, they got to find a new formula at the very least.
We've gotten to this point where people say, well, as long as you get the call right. As long as you get what we're trying to do here is get the call right. I don't care if there's a delay. We're reviewing it. Just get it right. We want to be.
But it's not always going to be that.
But football's a game of art too, and there is not always right and wrong.
Thank you.
It's not you crossed this line or you didn't. It's like there was a little hand play there, but it was mutual, and we're late in the game, and we've been letting it go, and that one today is not going to be pass interference. And I think there's a certain level of that's okay.
Yes.
It's just it's a judgment
call. It's an
imperfect game, and you don't try to make it perfect.
No, exactly right. I mean, again, me, Mike Tirico, Mike Florio, Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison, we'd see pass interference calls on a Sunday, and 3 would say yes, 2 would say no, 3 would say no, 2 would say yes. And, we're people that watch football all the time. We live it. That's all we do. So, I mean, that says it all. Some of these, one ref's going to see his PI. The guy up in the booth's not going to.
Yeah.
There's going to be issues there. It's never going to be perfect. So, we just got to get over that a little bit.
Yep.
We're doing the best we can.
So, those are some storylines to watch.
I think they're good ones.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.